This is our interview with Ted Sim from Aputure about a big update to the Sidus Link app.
The Cinema 5D virtual show is brought to you by B&H, the professional source for all your video needs. CVP, the leading specialist in creative cine, video, and photo solutions. Sattler, set your ideas in motion. Blackmagicdesign, creating amazing solutions for film, post-production, and television. And TILTA, arm your camera.
Hello everyone, welcome to cinema5d.com. My name is Graham Mailer Sheldon. This is our virtual trade show, and I'm here with Ted from Aputure to talk about really what amounts to a huge update to the Sidus Link app. How are you doing, Ted?
Doing good. We're trying to stay safe, of course, so we're starting to release everything that we were originally planning for NAB, but got some really big releases, so pretty excited to show them.
Nice. Well, why don't you launch into some of these Sidus Link updates? The fire in the background's cool, by the way. I can feel the warmth from here.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, we have a demo for this, so we'll show this in just a little bit. But to kick us off, first thing that we want to show off today is people have been asking for it forever, and we finally have Sidus Link 1.0 now available on the full tablet workflow. So for people out there using iPads, Surface devices, and things like that, you will now be able to use this on your actual program for Sidus Link control. One of the things to note here is that, yes, we could have just released a bigger version of the iPhone or the Android version of the app, but that wouldn't be taking all of the real estate and being able to maximize our workflow as far as actually working with the iPad. So as you can see here, it's a little bit familiar. You'll see all the same menus that you saw here before, but we've now been able to use the additional space. And instead of just blowing everything up, we can now add in even finer controls. So all of the layouts, all the different workspaces, all the different lights here, we've now built in all of this available here. So now I can see multiple windows. For instance, if I'm trying to change something like my color effects on my pulsing effect, I can now see that here on the left. And I can see all of my fixtures here on the left or right. So I can actually be able to swap through this instantly as fast as I need throughout this workspace. So this is actually something that is finally available today. You are able to purchase it today. It is actually available for $9.99. Sidus Link, as far as phone control, that's free. That's something we wanted to make sure was free for everyone to use. But for a lot of you higher end gaffers out there, and for a lot of you people out there that want even finer tuned control, something that's more similar to wireless DMX, this is a great version for that. So this will give you very much like wireless DMX control for all of you lighting operators out there that want to use all of your Sidus app control lights. So this is the first thing that we're releasing today. This is the iPad version of Sidus 1.0, but this would not be a virtual trade show. This would not be big releases unless we had something new on top of that. So following up from this, what we also have to show today is we have Sidus version 1.2. Now, this is really exciting. I know 1.2 sounds like a small increment, but actually what we've done here is we've been able to build in entirely new effects that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. I think this finally answers a lot of the questions that people have been asking. So Brandon's going to do a couple little demonstrations here, but for Sidus 1.2, there are three major updates to go through here. And I think the first thing to go through is, Graham, I think Cinema 5D readers remember this too, but about a year ago, we were talking about the idea of an RGB light, a full workflow of being able to record effects and actually being able to record something like a sunset and color changes and things like that. So with Sidus 1.2, we have it released, now available for everyone. We are now able to do something like record a fireplace. And we can record not only the intensity changes, but the hue and saturation changes. We can record all this in real time, save that. We can send it to our friends, but we can actually upload that change into our lights here. So you can see Brandon is actually recording this right now. And as he records it, you can see over here on the left, I'm actually able to recreate the exact same speed, the same flow, the same color changes, everything there built in. So you can do something like recording a real TV now. Instead of having to just go there and say, oh, let's try to use a flicker box effect, I can record the actual TV that's in my scene, get that explosion effect or whatever's playing on that screen, and my actual light will be able to recreate that in real time. So this works for all of the Aputure lights. Of course, if it's just a daylight light, it's just going to be able to do intensity. But if it is a RGB light, like the MCs and things like that, this will be able to create that entire workflow change here and in the flesh. So again, customizable, totally recordable effects. This is something that I'm really more interested in seeing what you guys do with it. So we'll see how that goes. But number two, on top of that, is we also have manual effects. So I think a lot of us are used to now having effects built into our lights. They're great. They're super useful. But One of the most difficult things is how do we actually make the coding, the programming of every effect be something that users can change however they need. Sometimes the fire effect's great, but you need it to flicker a little bit faster. You need the flames to lick a little bit quicker. The lightning is fine, but you don't want the same lightning effect happening over and over again. It looks predictable, it's recognizable. So with manual effects in here, we now have every single part of the actual effect. Something that you can tune. You can change the hue, the saturation, the intensity, but you can also change the ease in, the ease out. You can change the fade in speed of every single effect here. You can change the intensity, the frequency of each effect, every part of it, everything as far as like the curves and how it bends, all of that is customizable here, which actually leads into really our third and biggest part of 1.2. And that is something that I think a lot of you guys have been asking for. And that is the possibility of doing something like pixel mapping, like timeline control for Aputure lights. So as we said before, Sidus is really the kind of Aputure universe. It is kind of all of the lights that are linked up here. You are able to control everything from one app here. So Brandon's showing it off right now. Yes, that is not something that is actually just cleverly being turned on and off by some ghost hand in here. This is actually Sidus 1.2 in here. You can see here on the screen, there is a full it's almost like a beat maker mode where you can actually go click on these and I can actually tap 1131 and my lights will go 1131. I can loop that. I can go faster and slower. On the bottom here, we actually have timeline like control here. So if I want to have 11211, I can actually plug all of that in here. I can do hue saturation changes. This is really the most fast, easy to learn, quick way of being able to do pixel mapping on the go. Likewise, if you want to be able to program in lighting changes, like for instance, we were talking before about manual effects. Yes, you can change all the effects that we programmed into here, but you can actually program in and make all of your own effects customizable here in Beatmaker Mode 2. This is Magic Control, which is something that we just built in. And this, of course, just like basically everything else in the Sidus ecosystem, this is free and available now for all iPhone and phone operators. So Sidus Link Control has all this here. I misspoke, May 10th. Never mind. This is available here starting on May 10th. The last one real quick is a part of the Sidus ecosystem. This is something that I think a lot of people have been asking for. It's by far, in my opinion, at least one of the most beautiful products that we've released. And this is Sidus Bridge. So what this product will let you do is one of the things that we've been seeing a lot of Aputure users doing is a lot of you guys out there have been saying, it's really fun to watch all the updates. It's really cool to see Cinema 5D and everything that's coming out, but I bought an Aputure light 4, 5, 6 years ago, and it's really fun to watch the updates, but I can't partake in them. I can't be a part of all the fun. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that all of our legacy users out there don't get left behind. We want to make sure that you guys are able to kind of share in all the same innovations. So if you have a light out there that is capable of being powered off of the radio frequency remote, the Aputure radio frequency remote, Sidus Bridge, we're making this super affordable, super cheap. We're basically selling this at cost, is be something that we want to do to make sure that you guys can get this easily. This will basically transform any Bluetooth signal that I send to this, and it'll actually change it to radio frequency. So if you have an Amaranth 672 or a 120D Mark I, all of those old lights will now be able to be powered off of Sidus, which again is free, that you can download on your phone. So you actually all have app control, you all have manual effects, you all have programming and being able to record effects and things like that. This will apply for all of your old lights as well too. So Sidus Bridge, this is going to be available beginning of July. Price is not set yet, but we think it's going to be about $90. We're trying to make it super affordable for you guys out there. And again, as long as you have this on set, as long as you just plug this in, this will give full app control, full innovation to all of those legacy fixtures out there. So this is really our third and final release for Sidus Link.
And Ted, I want to be clear. So that's 100% of the legacy ecosystem.
Any of the legacy fixtures that have radio frequency, which is like 99% of old Aputure lights. Okay. There's a couple lights out there that can't be controlled off of radio frequency. The MW, for instance, is one of those, the M9, Mini 20 and things like that. But 672s, 120Ds, 300D Mark Is, all of really your old panels, those will all be controllable via Sidus Link as well.
Ted, walk me through the setup behind you there. I know the MC's magnetic. Are these new mounts behind you? What am I looking at there?
So basically, when we designed the MC, this was something that we were hoping that we could do from the get-go. So again, magnetic control is useful for a lot of things. It is wireless charging, it snaps into the case. But one of the biggest things that we wanted was, how do we get a bunch of MCs in a line, make them quick to mount? Again, one of the hardest parts about lights, especially when you're doing pixel map stuff, is having them all be on one movable fixture instead of having a bunch of little stands. But we're showing really kind of one of the ultimate uses and one of the big kind of brainchilds of the MC in the first place, which is this is literally just a steel plate from Home Depot. So this is not something that we sell. It's not something that we're going to sell, but you can literally get any steel plate surface. I don't care if it's a refrigerator. I don't care if it's a car. I don't care if it's the inside of a phone booth, or you can buy a steel plate yourself and actually just rig it into a baby pin just like this. But I can rig the MCs in a line, be able to do pixel map effects with this, or I can get something as simple as a steel plate here, which again, right here, I've got 4 MCs attached to, doing the same fire effect that was recorded there on the. And the MCs actually work in tandem to be able to try to create and fill the actual space. So instead of all the MCs doing the same fire effect over and over again, this will actually do a slightly different timed one than this one to make a more realistic kind of rapid fire effect.
Very cool. And I think another question people are going to ask before I let you go is $10 for the iPad version. I just want to be very, very clear. What kind of additional control are you getting for that $10? I mean, look, not a big deal for a professional gaffer, but just for the folks out there, they're like, $10, why?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, it's really the same controls that you saw in Sidus 1.0. So technically, you're not getting any additional effects or any functionality in that way. The biggest thing is really just being able to control it on one workflow and one workspace. So as opposed to before in the Sidus Link phone app, again, we did a pretty good job of maximizing that real estate that's on the phone screen, being able to see all the menus and making sure that. I think one of the things I hate the most is when you have redundant menus. When you have like a menu that you're like, does this even do anything? Oh, I have to work it with this light. First off, it is a smart app. So what that does mean is that the light will only send the controls that it can actually be controlled by. So you have no dead menus. But with the additional real estate, what we did is you can see that the font is actually the same size font as if you were controlling it on a phone. So by doing that, we can make the workspace that would normally be on your phone, we can triple that with the size. And this is an iPad mini right here. We can triple that real estate. We can actually include 3 different screens that are all built in. And again, this isn't just copy paste. This is an entirely new workflow built in. So on the same screen that I change my effects, I can change my intensity, my frequency, and I can jump over to different lights. So the biggest thing is really real estate and being able to work in one seamless workflow all together on a bigger screen.
Very cool. Well, I'm especially personally excited about the pixel mapping for things like process car shots and stuff like that. So very excited to try it out. Ted, I really appreciate your time. Thank you, for walking through some of the updates for the Sidus Link app. And and also it's great to see support for legacy products as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Stay tuned to cinema5d.com for more ongoing coverage from our virtual trade show. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys soon.